So we do have quite a hectic day today. Of course, we have all the action to go through that's coming up over the weekend in the Championship, and as well as that, it is also transfer deadline day, so we will be going through the latest transfer rumours currently going around the Championship throughout today's video. As always, all this weekend's fixtures will be in the description down below so that you guys can go ahead and make your score predictions, and if you do get any of them right, your comment will be included next time. Before we do get into anything though, I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, their link will be in the top line of the description down below. Over on the OneFootball app, you can keep up to date with all the deals that do go through on transfer deadline day, and like I say, it's quite a hectic one to keep up with everything. You can also go ahead and get live updates to your phone with all the matches that are going on in the Championship this weekend, and I'm interested to see what you guys are saying for these ones. Obviously, the transfer deadline day could have quite the effect on what does happen over the weekend, but like I said, OneFootball link down below. So without any further ado, let's hop into these games. So starting things out with the first game going on tonight, which is Cardiff going up against Reading. Both these sides were in action in midweek. Cardiff beating West Brom fantastically to get back to winning ways by 2-1. In that game, it wasn't the prettiest, you know, they had to dig in at times, but when their opportunities came going forward, boy did they take them. Callum Patterson, who's always a threat in the opposition box with his physicality, opened the scoring. West Brom got back into it with a Charlie Austin penalty, but then what a superb winner from Lee Tomlin. Been their gem so far this season. A brilliant free kick into the top corner, and Cardiff walked away with all 3 points. Reading were defeated in midweek. They lost against Bristol City, quite a frustrating one by 1-0. They'll be looking to bounce back in this one, but away at Cardiff is never an easy match. You know, not many sides have got much joy there so far this season. Cardiff, it's looking like, are still going to be dipping into the transfer window on deadline day, looking to get a couple of deals done. They're still after a striker and possibly a winger as well, whereas Reading, it's not so clear as to if they will go in for anyone else. For this one, I think with Cardiff being at home, I'm just swaying towards them. I'm going to go 2-1 with Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Cardiff. And as the second game we got going on tonight, actually, is Derby going up against Stoke. Derby were in action in midweek, losing 3-2 against Luton Town. And up until that point, they've been on a decent sort of unbeaten run. You know, 2020 they were unbeaten up until that point, but some really poor defending to allow Luton back into that game. They took the lead, Wayne Rooney getting his first goal since signing for Derby, but a lot of ball watching for it. They then got back into the game with a goal from Chris Martin and then conceded it late on, and then from then on they sort of fell apart for the last 5 minutes of this one. Lowe was sent off for pushing the referee as well. It was poor game management, and a lot of problems that Derby have been having throughout the season sort of resurfaced in that one. They'll be looking to get back to winning ways in this one, but they're meeting Stoke at not the best of times. Stoke unbeaten in their last 4 matches. Last time they were in action last weekend, they beat Swansea by 2-0 and have been putting out some really good performances. They've also been fairly active in the transfer market recently. It's looking like, as of recording, that they're going to be completing the signing of James Chester, coming on loan for the rest of the season, a defender who I really rate. I think that'll be a good deal for them, and it also looks like they're still in the market for a striker as well, so I'm sure more updates will come on that throughout the day. But Derby seem to be slightly better at home, but Stoke in their mugs at the moment. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that game, with Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Stoke. As the yearly kick-off on Saturday, we got Hull going up against Brentford. Both sides were in action in midweek and both did lose, so they'll be looking to bounce back. Hull losing against Huddersfield by 2-1, and Brentford in that crunch match at the top of the Championship did lose at the hands of Nottingham Forest, with Joe Lolly's deflected strike being the only goal of that game. Both sides, it looks as if, will be fairly busy on deadline day. For Hull, it's a bit like the end of an era for them really, with Grosicki and Bowen both moving on. Grosicki's completed his move to West Brom, and as of recording, it's looking like Jared Bowen will be going to West Ham later in the day, and I think a lot of people thought that this may be happening, but even so, still a real hammer blow for Hull. You know, they're two most dynamic players going forward, and I'm interested to see how they set up for the rest of the season without them. It does look like they're going to be completing the signing of Marcus Maddison from Peterborough, so that'll be some way to fill the void a little bit, but that's still going to be quite the hammer blow for them nonetheless. Brentford, it's looking like we'll be busy on deadline day as well, looking like they'll be completing the deal for Oxford United duo Tariq Fosu and Shannon Baptiste. Brentford, obviously one of the best scouting networks, and I'm sure they'll both go on to do well for them, but for this one, I think I'm edging towards Brentford. You know, I'm going to say 1-0. Next up, we then got Birmingham going up against Nottingham Forest, and the win this weekend could take Nottingham Forest into the top 2. They're on a fantastic run of form at the moment, and with West Brom really faltering in the league, it gives them a good opportunity. They're going to a Birmingham side who have been very hit and miss so far this season, but both sides have been fairly interesting transfer windows. Nottingham Forest have been one of the busiest sides in the window lately, especially in the Championship. They're in need of a bit of backup support for Lewis Grabban. happen. They've gone ahead and done that. They completed the deal for Da Costa. They've, of course, recalled Walker as well from his loan. They completed the signing of Diakarby, and it's looking like maybe if Albert Adoma is going to be leaving out the door, they'll be looking for a replacement for him as well. Christian Atsu, the latest name, who I've been seeing linked with Forest. Birmingham, obviously, their marquee signing really being Scott Hogan coming in on loan for the rest of this season. They're in need of a little bit more pace and mobility going forward. Scott Hogan not had the greatest few years lately in the Championship, but if he can rekindle his form of a few years ago, then Birmingham could have a decent striker on their hands there. For this one, though, I think that with Forest, obviously that brilliant win they had in midweek against Brentford, that will set them up on a bit of a momentum run now from now until the end of the season. Jolie seems to be back bang in form, and for this game, I'm going to be back in the away, so I'm going to go 2-0 Forest with Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Forest. Our next one is a massive clash at the bottom of the Championship. Charlton sit just above the relegation zone at the moment, and it feels like a must-win game for Barnsley, this one. The last time they were in action in the Championship, they were defeated 3-0 at home by Preston North End. A few defensive mistakes in that one, and overall just wasn't a great performance. They're going up against this Charlton side who, at the start of the season, seems to be a bit of a distant memory now for Charlton, but it is looking like they will be very active for the remainder of the transfer window, and on deadline day it's looking like they've got quite a few deals that are ready to go, one of which has been Aidan McGeady. And for me personally, I mean, I know that you guys, if you've been watching on the channel for a while now, you'll know my thoughts on Aidan McGeady, but absolute baller while he was at Preston. He went to Sunderland, started out well there, but things didn't quite end up so good for McGeady. I think he had a falling out with manager Phil Parkinson there, but if Charlton can get the best out of someone like McGeady, they've got an absolute gem of a player in the squad there, and they'll need all they can get, you know, with the amount of injuries they've had throughout the season so far. They've been a bit unfortunate with that. Barnsley still do carry an attacking threat into games, and I don't think there's going to be all too much in this one. I'm going to go for quite a nervy 1-1 draw in that game, and FIFA's going to agree with me. And then we got Fulham going up against Huddersfield. Huddersfield picking up a massive 3 points in midweek, beating Hull City in the last minute. Steve Munier and Colin Grant both on the score sheet for that one. Two players who I'm sure all the Huddersfield fans will be hoping they'll be able to keep hold of when deadline day does conclude. But Grobber, the goalkeeper, did get knocked unconscious in that one, and I think will be missing the next month of action for them now, so obviously I wish him all the best with his recovery from that. Looked to be quite a nasty one when he was out on the floor. With them going up against this Fulham squad won't be easy. Only one loss in their last 5 matches. Their last game, of course, coming in the FA Cup against Man City, but I don't think you can really read too much into that, you know. The early red card didn't help them, and from then on it was just fairly easy for Man City. Mitrovic, I think, is back in the frame, although I don't think will be starting for this one. Is in contention fairly soon, so the sooner he does get back fit into the starting 11, the better for Fulham, really. Fulham continue to be linked with players themselves. I think I've seen Jota from Aston Villa being linked to them recently, but I'm interested if they get anything done on deadline day. But for this one, I think I'm just edging towards Fulham. I'm going to go 2-1 with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Huddersfield. Then next up we got Leeds United going up against Wigan. Both sides involved in very dramatic games in midweek. Leeds against Millwall. Oh my god, no one saw that one coming. Millwall with a 2-0 lead at half-time. I don't think that referee was the most popular man inside Ellen Road, but a fantastic second half comeback. Patrick Bamford, of all people, being at the forefront of it. He got 2 goals, Pablo Hernandez got the other, and what a statement of intent from Leeds United. From coming behind from 2-0, they had West Brom losing as well, that meaning that Leeds went back to the top of the Championship. It's looking like their transfer business has been concluded, but a decent window for Leeds, I must say. You know, that signing of Augustin, really interested to see how he goes ahead and beds into the squad. But if you cast your mind back to last season, this was one of the games where Leeds sort of fell away in. It was a game where they completely dominated, but Wigan walked away with all 3 points. We all know about Wigan's away record, and that was actually the only away match that Wigan won in 2019. So can lightning strike twice? Well, Wigan did win in midweek. They beat Sheffield Wednesday by 2-1. Kiefer Moore, who's not really had the greatest of service so far this season, getting on the score sheet for that one, and then Jamal Lowe with a fantastic looping header to go ahead and win the game in the 90th minute. Wigan are still 4 points away from safety, and I do feel as if need quite a bit more on deadline day, but with that 3 points they gave themselves a fighting chance. For this one, I've got the feeling that Wigan are going to take the lead, but Leeds may have another comeback up their sleeves. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds in this game, with Thief saying it'll be a goalless draw. Next up we then got Middlesbrough going up against Blackburn. Blackburn in action in midweek. They did beat QPR by 2-1. Adam Armstrong with the fantastic opener in that game, and then Darragh Lenihan went on to score the winner. Last time Borough were in action was a 1-1 draw against Birmingham. They are without a win now in their last 3 matches, but even in those games I still think have been playing relatively well. Their last win in the league was away at North End when they beat Preston by 2-0. And for this one, I don't think there'll be all too much in it. Blackburn currently sit 4 points away from the top 6. It's looking like deadline day may be a fairly quiet one for both these two clubs, although Blackburn have been linked to Christian Atsu. Obviously, we mentioned him in the video previously, being linked to Nottingham Forest, and Blackburn seems to be another club who are interested in the Newcastle winger. With Middlesbrough, the latest name to be linked with them has been Sheffield United playmaker Ravel Morrison coming on potentially a loan deal. Obviously, they got a lot of deals done earlier on in the window as well, but if they get that one done, that could set up an interesting end to the season for them. But for this game itself, I don't think there's going to be all too much in it. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and FIFA's going to agree with me on that. Next up, we then got North End going up against Swansea, two playoff chasers going up against each other. It looks as if both clubs are going to have fairly quiet transfer deadline days. All the Preston fans, myself included, would love to see us going for a striker, but it doesn't look as if that will be on the cards. So making do with what we've got, and it is still a very capable squad of making the top 6. It's just with that bit more quality up front, we really would give ourselves the fighting chance. Swansea, last time they were in action, did lose against Stoke City. They'll be looking to bounce back from that fairly poor performance after they were coming off the back of a fairly decent run in the Championship. Swansea have really utilised the loan market in the two transfer windows so far. North End, Scott Sinclair, could he be in line for his first goal for Preston against his former club? Last time Preston were in action, it was a 3-0 away victory over Barnsley, and the first time since Alex Neil's really been in the job where we've completely switched up the system. You know, Alex Neil is very much, you know, week to week it's a 4-2-3-1 formation, but against Barnsley we went for a diamond in midfield, Josh Harrop at the top of it, and we were absolutely fantastic. We were ruthless throughout midfield, playing some brilliant passing football, and if we can transition that into this game against Swansea, I think we'll give ourselves a good opportunity. You know, Swansea can be a little bit slack at the back sometimes, but with the added motivation of it being, you know, a playoff crunch match, Swansea will be up for this one, I think, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. FIFA's going to say it'll be 1-0 Swansea. I don't think there'll be much in this one at all. Next up, we then got QPR going up against Bristol City. Bristol City very much a side who go in and out of form throughout the season, but at this point in time, I think it's fair to say that they are bang in form. They won their last 3 matches and are now sat back in the top 6. As well as that, it's going to be a return to Loftus Road for striker Naki Wells, and he just is going to score, isn't he? It's written on the score sheet for this one. QPR were in action in midweek. They did lose against Blackburn Rovers. John Hugo screening in that game. I think a lot of the attacking onus is now going to fall on his shoulders with Naki Wells going back and then being sold to Bristol City. Bristol City did pick up all 3 points in midweek, 1-0 away at Reading. Jamie Patterson scoring the only goal of the game in that one. For this one, I see it being quite open and an end-to-end sort of game. It usually is with QPR when they are at Loftus Road. Bristol City obviously can be a bit slack defensively, but Josh Brownhill, another deal which has gone through. He's left going to Burnley. They are looking to replace him in the market. I think Marcus Henriksen being the latest name linked to Bristol City, possibly on the loan deal. I think that would actually be a really decent option for them till the end of the season. But for this game, I think I am edging towards Bristol City, and I'm going to say it's going to be Naki Wells to grab a couple of goals as well. I'm going to go 3-2 to them, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 QPR. Sheffield Wednesday versus Millwall comes up next. That game that Sheffield Wednesday had against Leeds a few weeks ago seems like a distant memory with their recent few performances in the league. They were absolutely battered against Blackburn, losing by 5-0, and then in midweek, another quite poor showing, losing against Wigan. They threw that one away quite late on, which has been a bit of a theme with Wednesday in a couple of their matches, you know, conceding late goals and not picking up points from winning positions. They're going up against this Millwall side who they themselves did throw away a lead in midweek, losing against Leeds United by 3-2. It was a brilliant performance first half from Millwall. Their game plan was excellent in the way they were going about things, but the second half was just a complete onslaught from Leeds, and they looked like a team possessed and weren't going to be stopped for that one. So Millwall will look to dust themselves down. Both sides still are very much within the playoff picture, you know. I'm interested to see if either side do any deals on deadline day to try and get that extra bit of quality to go ahead and break into it. You know, Sheffield Wednesday have been wanting a striker throughout the whole of the month, but whether anything is actually going to materialise throughout today, we'll wait and see. For this game though, I think I'm just edging towards Millwall. Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough can be a little bit hit and miss. Their record there hasn't been great lately, and with the way that Millwall like to set up away from home, they can be very awkward to play against. I'm going to go 2-1 Millwall in that game. FIFA's going to say it'll be a goalless draw. And then as our final game to conclude things, we have West Brom going up against Luton. Now, we've spoken a lot on the channel recently about Leeds falling away, but the drop-off in form that West Brom have seen since 2020 has been absolutely astonishing. Obviously, they were in action in midweek. They lost once again to Cardiff City, 2-1. Lee Tomlin with a fantastic free kick to win them that game. And they're going up against this Luton side who did get back to winning ways in midweek as well. They beat Derby by 3-2, and maybe just maybe gave themselves a fighting chance of staying up. They'll want to build on that momentum, but it's an interesting one to call because you've got Luton at the bottom of the table, who maybe not a lot of people are fancying, but on the other hand, you've got West Brom, who aren't on the good run of form at the moment, who maybe people aren't fancying for this one either. In the transfer window, though, West Brom have done a couple of deals lately, completing the signings of Callum Robinson and Kamil Grosicki. I'm interested to see what Bilic has planned for them going forward in terms of where he sees their natural positions, because for me personally, I think Grosicki's best when he's played on the left wing, and Callum Robinson is best when he's played on the left wing. So I'm interested to see how he goes ahead and fits them both in, because for me, Robinson isn't an out-and-out striker, so if they do plan to play him there, I'm not sure how he'll get on. But hey, we can only wait and see. For this one, I think that it is time for West Brom to get back to winning ways, and with Leeds winning in midweek as well, with the teams catching up to them, you know, if they lose again, they could be out of the top two come the end of the weekend. So I think we need a reaction from West Brom, and we may just get that. I'm going to go 3-1 West Brom for this game, with Thief saying it'll be a goalless draw. But guys, there you have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. So there were my score predictions. Get all your thoughts in the comments down below, and there were some of my thoughts on the recent deals that have gone through and some of the current transfer speculation going around the league. So if you've seen any other transfer rumours, get them in the comments down below. I'm interested to see what does go through on deadline day. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for today's video. So if you're going to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you do subscribe for a regular bit of Championship content. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.